Hey guys, welcome back. Everybody viewing, meet Scott.
Hi, Scott.
Scott,
Hello.
everybody is through the camera, so you can say hi that way. But thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So Scott is with Copper Creek Developments, who is one of our Best My Nest vendors. So thank you very much for participating in our program.
Yes.
So really quickly, tell us a little bit about Copper Creek Developments, and then just a bit of background.
So Copper Creek Developments is a full-service renovation company, generally interior renovations, specialize in kitchens, certainly anything else that comes off of that, like while you're here, can you add on a bathroom and a basement? Sure, we can do that. So, but interior renovations, we've been in business for, I've been doing this for myself about 12 years, and yeah, it's been a great company and a lot of fun, and done a lot of exciting, challenging projects and a lot of good
Well, I've seen some
results.
of the photos, and it is unbelievable.
Yeah, some really amazing transformations. So
yeah, and Calgary's such a cool place for it because there's such a diversity of home styles and things like that. So you probably get a little bit of everything. Hey?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
That's awesome. Great. That's awesome. So let's talk about renovations because it is such an exciting thing. Except you get caught in this process. And it is a process, and I got to just say, first of all, I got to show this right away. They have this incredible marketing piece that you can kind of see there, but on the back of this has this step-by-step guide of everything with the planning and the design process. So, I mean, these guys have put time into this, think about it. It's not one of those sort of fly-by-night operations. You guys have really show your expertise on this. So tell me where the bad stories come from, because there's poor quality, there's delays, there's a bunch of different things. Tell me, give us some kind of background on that, or where you feel that comes from.
Yeah, so I think that most people, when they decide they want to do a renovation, they want things to happen quick. So wake up on a Saturday, sick of the kitchen, demo the cabinets, take them to the landfill like you were talking about, and then on Monday morning wonder, what's next? What's the next step? And so people...
Apparently we need cabinets.
Yeah. People want action. They want to see things happen quickly. So that can lead to big problems. Another one is just people choosing a contractor that is available to start real quick. Again, so choosing that person, you interview a few contractors and the one that's available to start because you want to get going. So therefore, you're rushing into things. And it's just poor planning. You haven't thought out the whole process, the planning process. You haven't ordered anything that you need. So it ends up delay. Well, we wait for things to arrive that weren't ordered in time. But really, it's just, if you sit down and you really plan, you can really have a smooth renovation with no hiccups, no cost overruns. And then the big one is, again, while you're here, can you add this, and this? And that's when the budget gets away from you.
That's right.
And it doesn't always seem like then it's your fault.
Yeah, well, it always comes back to the contractor.
Yeah, like I've heard so many stories where and then it ended up being X thousands of dollars of over what I thought it was supposed to be, but that's probably because you wanted the better paint and you just didn't. That adds up, or if you don't really
for sure.
map everything out.
It all adds up. And making changes, so if you're not sure exactly what you want, and then you make changes once it's started, changes add delays, but they also add more money. So that's another thing when the budget can get away.
I even hear realtors say this to their clients. It's like, oh, you want a kitchen? So when we talk about CMAs and adjustments, it's oh, a new kitchen, that's $50,000. And it's like, well, that's a bit of a blanket. What are you putting in? What style of finishings and everything else? And I imagine that there's even for a type of cabinetry, a type of countertop, the process, the layout. Do you want to rearrange things? Do you want the exist? There's so many factors in here that even realtors can send their clients down the wrong path.
Absolutely.
Can I ask you an off-the-cuff question? What's the most expensive kitchen renovation you guys have done?
Probably just for a kitchen, about $180,000.
Wow.
Very, very nice kitchen.
Very, very nice kitchen.
And a large kitchen.
That's awesome.
But yeah, just the cabinets, the custom millwork, and the backsplash tile, very, very nice selections, but
gold-plated grout.
Could yeah. So we could do a kitchen, a nice kitchen too, if it's just cabinets, countertops, appliances, for $30,000. But it's all exactly what the customer wants, and we can do anything that they want to do. It's just, again, budget is important, and
Yeah.
And then, for real estate agents too, it's what the area you live in and the type of house. You don't want to over renovate for your house because you'll never see that money at any point.
I had a client in a townhouse in Pine Ridge that worked at Direct Buy. So she just thought that since she worked at Direct Buy, you could buy all the materials. Like, you walked into her house and it was just absolutely like the top of the line, everything. It was insane looking at it, like Wolf appliances. You're like, what? in this townhouse, you wouldn't expect. I mean, the value of her place was $130,000 at the time.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, like this is crazy. So I appreciate that. It's a very, very good comment because that's so true.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned a few things, but in terms of just start with general considerations. So somebody comes to you and they say, we want to renovate our living room and kitchen, knock out the wall, and we'd like it done on Monday. So typical clients. What would you say are the first things that really need to be considered?
Yeah, so I think what we tell people is the first thing you got to do is sit in that. Let's talk about a kitchen again, and say you got to sit in that kitchen. You got to evaluate what you like and don't like in the kitchen. There's going to be some pieces of it that you probably like, whether it's the layout of the appliances, you want to keep that the same, or those kinds of things. And there'll be some things that you absolutely must change. You want a bigger island, or you really want to move the sink over here, those kinds of things. But you need to evaluate what you have and where you want to go with it. So really sit down and think about that. And then there's project scope. So we go there to do a kitchen. The kitchen leads into the dining room, which leads into the hallway, which leads into the powder room. And so where are we going to cut this off? And are we going to do it in, if you want to do the whole main floor, we're going to do it in 2 segments.
That's a great question, because everything does, especially these open concepts. It's tough to divide a line.
Well, exactly. I mean, we often in the older houses make them more open. So you take out that wall, and now you've opened up this other room. And so project scope is a big one. Where are we going to cut off this specific project, so that that? Because what happens is, again, you start to creep into other rooms, and that once the job starts, and that's when things start to go up. And then ideas. So there's so many good apps out there with Houzz and Instagram and all that stuff that people can go get ideas. If someone could put a picture, in front of a contractor when they show up and say, this is kind of what I want, this style, then we have an idea of the level of finishings and things like that. So that really helps, spending some time and that kind of stuff. And then budget, really thinking about budget. How much do you really, what's the max you want to spend, so that we make sure we don't go through the roof on that. And a lot of people watch a lot of TV shows that aren't based in Calgary, and they see some really small budgets for some amazing work. And Calgary is, there's not a lot of cheap labor here and things like that, so you can't watch a show based in another city and expect those prices to correlate to Calgary. And so I think staying away, watching TV shows for ideas is great, but really using those actual numbers. I mean, you guys sell real estate, and there's a lot of TV shows that deal with that, and those numbers just don't fly here.
Yeah.
So,
our budget's $13,000.
I have a photo of a bathroom.
I'll have to check it out later.
I should. Oh,
Careful.
Yeah,
All right.
So good.
So take us through. So talk about the first meeting to the start of construction. What are the typical steps that you take the client through?
Yeah. So when we first meet with the client, this is what we would work through with them, and this is.
We don't have a PDF of this. I'd love to show this up. We're gonna harass them until we get a copy of this, and we're gonna send it out to you guys, because this is so great, and I think it's great that you guys did use copy.
There's just so much confusion from the time you meet a contractor to the time you start construction, and the steps and what should happen, and that's why we made this, just because put people at ease with the process, so they're going to understand that things are going to take a little bit of time. And for a typical kitchen, I mean, it should be a minimum of 6 to 8 weeks of planning if you really want your renovation to go smooth.
Planning.
Yeah, just to get from the time we meet to the time construction, at least 8 weeks. So if you're thinking of doing
it, if I had to wait 8 weeks to plan something.
Oh gosh.
But this is the problem: is that I'm not atypical. To me, that's just like, you're right. In my mind, I'm like, I meet you, and in 8 weeks the kitchen is
like,
done.
so can you be done by May 15th?
Exactly.
You're right, but this is good. You gotta calm us people down.
Just slow it down, think it through. So yeah, so when we first meet, we want to meet with you. We want to capture your design needs and ideas, and we want to ask you some questions as well. So we'll prompt you for some ideas and information that we can get. And what we really want to do is just narrow down the project scope. So at this point, you're probably going to get a few contractors in, do your due diligence, get a few different quotes. But what often happens is the first contractor comes in, you say you want the kitchen done, so he goes, provides you a quote for that. By the time the second one gets there, you've thought some more, and now the kitchen and dining room, and so then he's quoting a different. So you're getting different quotes that aren't comparing the same amount of work, and that gets things confusing. So really you got to try to narrow down exactly what you want. You can make changes once you've selected a contractor before construction begins and add a little bit more then, but for comparing your quotes, you really want to get the same scope of work, which you want to tell them. So that's step one. We meet with you, we get that, then we go and we provide a quote in step two, and that quote is going to have some allowances in it. And those numbers are best guesses. You've showed us a nice picture of that bathroom, and we've seen some nice high-end finishes. So we're going to put in a nice allowance for that steam shower that you want, and the 10 mil glass, or the countertops and cabinets in the kitchen. So we'll have allowances in there, which are going to be based on our best guess as to what we think you're going to go select. But that's an issue where some people will come in and they'll give you what they call builder standard. And the builder standard is often, like, I know you're not going to choose builder standard level of finishing in your bathroom, but I'll quote you that. But then when you go make selections, everything starts adding up. So we try to get a feel for your design so we can give you a fairly accurate.
It's only $2 a square foot more.
Exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's step two. So step two, we give you that quote. You'll have some other quotes, and when we expect you to work through those, and then at that point you almost need to make a decision on a contractor, and you make that decision and you move ahead, and then you go to step three, which is selection time. So at that time, that's the fun part. If we're talking about a kitchen, we're going to look at appliances, we're going to look at countertops, backsplash, cabinets, handles.
And does someone from your team go with
the
so clients?
We have an interior designer that we work with, and she's one of the best in the city. She'll be here on Thursday as part of the presentation.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Bridget from Debutante Design. So she is great to work with. She really gets to know the clients, what they want in their kitchen. And so she's willing to go with you to selection. Some people have said, I'm really bad at this. They show us a picture. Bridget will go and she'll pick everything and like an A and a B and bring it back to your house and say, A or B for backsplash, A or B for countertop, to kind of narrow it down. And she can really tie it all together and it'll look exactly what someone wants. So I think getting an interior designer involved is always a good thing, just because they know that what goes together, and they can, tell you, that's a good idea, but these bright red cabinets aren't going to go with this floor, that kind of thing. And we want to keep houses looking good. You always have to think resale. You're going to move out of that house at some point, and you don't want to have a house that looks so custom to you that it's almost unsellable in the future.
And you see some photos like that as well.
Oh gosh.
Where you're just
we had a client who was an artist, and she painted herself like with a artistic canvas paintbrush every single wall in the house. And they loved it. They said it would be a forever home, and they did it. But gosh, trying to resell that thing, it was so unique.
And when I was at Cartwright Lighting on Thursday, I wanted to have this beautiful low-hanging thing, chandelier. It's not a chandelier, but a something in our entranceway. The guy says, "How tall are your ceilings?" It's like 8 feet. And I said, "I want this one. I'd like this. Wrap it up." And he said, "Anybody who's over 5'5" will hit their head on this light." And I was like, "No, no, no." And he's like, "Yes." And he's like, "How can you show me a photo of where it is in relation to the door?" I'm like, "Right here." He's like, "And the door is going to hit it every time you open it." But so it's important to have people who have these considerations, because you're right, random people, not that we don't think things through, but it's very different than having people who have those expert considerations.
Oh, exactly. And it's just, some people, they haven't done research on items. And, we had a customer that wanted a Sub-Zero fridge, but her total appliance budget was $10,000. So the fridge is double that just to get started. So she didn't know that, though. But, with the interior designer there, we made things work for them and picked a suitable substitution for a fridge. And they're happy with everything. But yeah, so selection time is step 3. It's a lot of fun. That's when it can be stressful, but with the interior designer and with us, we can really narrow things down and make it go well.
Nice.
Yeah, and then step 4 is documentation, and this is a step that a lot of contractors miss, and this is where problems arise. So we've got drawings now, millwork drawings of your cabinets in your kitchen. We've got the quote now comes back to you. You've made your selections, and now all those allowances get reconciled before work begins, which is key for your costs. So now before we start construction exactly what this rental is going to cost, instead of starting construction and not knowing, and then things start to add up. So if we put in an allowance for a nice backsplash, $5,000, big kitchen, and you go choose something that costs $2,500, then you're getting a $2,500 credit before we start, and you know that you're maintaining that, and you could take that $2,500 and spend it on something else, another upgrade, a nicer appliance, etc. So we reconcile that. You sign off on your millwork, and you sign off on your selections you've made so that we can go ahead and order everything. And then we put together a full interior selections booklet. So that booklet is
That's nice.
everything that you've selected is in that booklet. You have a copy, we have a copy. Then there's no questions later as to, I thought I chose this fridge or this tile or this handle.
Oh, that's so
That's
smart.
like walking in after a
That is
vacation
so
to like
smart.
a tile or a carpet you didn't order.
Exactly.
Like, oh no.
Or thought you didn't order.
That's
and
right.
that's when you get into the communication problems. And then generally, that becomes the contractor's fault and leads to a horror story of he put in the wrong, whatever it may be. So documentation. So you get this booklet. It shows everything you selected because, it's been a process and who knows when and what's going to happen. And then everybody knows that. And then step 5 is time to start. And that's when we talk about when we're going to start. And we also build a full construction schedule, and you get that ahead of time. So you know surprises on how long this project's going to take. You know exactly how long it's going to take. And we choose a start date. And a lot of people try to combine that start date with a vacation, get out of the house during the demo, and let us get going and then come back. And so that, helps. But when you're talking about a kitchen, you're going to be living without a kitchen, for probably
Wash your dishes in the bathtub.
Exactly.
My parents have done it. I've watched that happen.
So 8 weeks. But if you know ahead of time, hey, it's going to be 8 weeks. I know it sucks by week 4, but you're at 4 more weeks to go. And then you won't have delays, and that 8-week reno won't turn into a 12-week renovation.
Jeez. So picking a contractor, which we've all done and gone through the process, and you're right, it is very tricky to do that. So if you had to say some general guidelines, and not even just, and to make this a little bit more, I think relevant to everybody, contractors in general, whether you're calling an electrician, a plumber, whoever, what are some general check marks that people should be thinking about?
Yeah, so there's some real easy things you can do. I think that referrals and word of mouth are the best, and recent referrals and word of mouth within the last year or so. Because a lot can change, companies can change, staff can change. So keeping something current is important. And then just simple things. People don't often check for little things like business licenses. Liability insurance is a big one. It's super easy to get for a contractor that has no issues. Doesn't cost a whole lot, but asking for liability insurance, most contractors should have $2 million. Should something seriously go wrong with your property on the renovation?
They don't all have that?
No, a lot of them don't have liability insurance. So check for those things. And then the biggest one for me is with the deposit. So Service Alberta is an easy website you can go to. You can type in any contractor company, and it will say whether they have a rating to take money up front. It's called a prepaid contractor.
And there's a few recent examples of where that was in trouble, which is why it's top of mind.
Yeah, and another big thing is not paying a deposit for work in the future. So with us, like these 5 steps we've gone through before, we're about to start construction. We still haven't taken any money from you at this point. You don't pay for your renovation until we start ordering material for your kitchen via deposit. But there's some contractors that will take a huge deposit up front for work that's going to start, say, 6 months down the road. And so that's a bad decision to make. And we'll talk to people. You don't have to do that. They might tell you, we need that money to hold your spot, but that's not true. And that's not, they don't need your money if they're not working on your project. And so that's a big one. And then the last one is just a really detailed quote. you don't want just one number for your kitchen, 50,000, like you said.
Yeah,
Here, 50,000 will do your kitchen. That doesn't mean, because what are you getting for that?
Yeah.
What kind of flooring, backsplash, cabinets, countertops?
Absolutely.
So we provide really detailed quotes, and that also allows someone to cut an item. So that the needs and wants of this wish list that you might have, you might think something's a want, and you don't necessarily need it, and it costs this much. You might just slash that item. Then we just delete it off the quote and it's gone. You know exactly how much money you've saved. But when it's one big number at the end, 50,000,
Yeah.
and you say, I don't want this,
Yeah.
you don't know really what
That's
you're getting
true.
back. So,
Yeah, like you could just decide to not have concrete countertops, X that, and
Yeah.
know that you can still afford. That's really great.
so those are just some easy things, and we'll discuss a little bit more about that because there are lots of good contractors in the city, and there's just a few that aren't, and then those are the stories you hear about.
I want to just share something for our agents at home. I just want to say, our next question is, real estate and home renovators working together to find the perfect home. But I just want to say something about trust and through the process. And, when you guys work with your real estate clients and you're wondering whether or not you're going to earn their business or anything, if you have a process and someone can take you through and explain, and it could be something like this that just shows the step that you go through to get a home sold, the fact that you've thought about it gives you immediate trust in the person. And I just got to say, if we were choosing a renovator right now and someone presented this to us and take us through why each step is there's a no-brainer. It's instant, unconditional trust that we put in this person's services rather than that person who walks in and is like, 50,000,
Yeah.
that's what it is. But you walk in with this as a realtor coming into your real estate transactions, and you're going to be taking your client through the selling or the buying process and showing them you have a process. It's awesome. So
I love that.
I just want to mention that because already I'm feeling the trust. I hope you guys are too, that Scott knows what he's talking about and has thought about this and has a very deliberate plan for that. So tell us how real estate professionals, home renovators can work together to find that perfect home or make it the perfect home.
Yeah, so we work with a couple real estate agents, and I just think that often real estate agents are hesitant to say to someone that is thinking of purchasing a property but doesn't like the kitchen, let's say, and we really want house is perfect place, perfect community, but just it needs a reno. Yeah, and then they're scared, and then real estate agent, they're scared to refer a contractor because there's that trust thing, right? And if they refer a contractor and the job goes sideways, that's going to reflect on them because it was their recommendation, and now they're going to lose trust with their client, and there's no repeat. And so it's just a cycle. And I think that real estate agents can get a trustworthy contractor involved, and they can come give those clients, if they're thinking of purchasing a house, often the ones I work with, they'll call me and I'll join them on a quick showing, and I'll say, hey, yeah, can we do this? We think we got 50,000 to budget. Can we get this kitchen up to our level?
That would be so good to do on like a second showing to bring.
Yeah, so if they're serious about it, and then we can go in, and then we can say, you know what, this is not going to be 50,000, it's going to be 100,000, and then they know. But the problem is people don't know. So they're close to purchasing a house, and then they walk away from the deal because they don't want to live through reno, or they think it's going to be this. Or the other issue is that they think it's going to be 20 grand to do this kitchen.
Right.
So we got an extra 20 in here, but it's actually then when they get contractors in. So it's just giving them peace of mind and a little more information and knowledge before they purchase the house as to could this really work for us? And it can help put a house together for a client of yours that can really see the full picture and get that knowledge.
If someone's confident, I mean, people when they say, we need to think about it, they're just unsure they have enough information to make a proper decision. And confusion leads to a no. And so we always want to try and make that clear. Scott, thank you so much, man. You guys got a great thing going on here. We really
thanks for having me on. Hopefully people come out on Thursday and check it out. We got
Promote
more information.
So what's going on Thursday again? How do they register?
Yeah, Thursday evening in the PDC, it's open for yourselves, also for your clients, friends, family members, anybody thinking of doing a bit of a renovation. Obviously, you'll be here kind of talking about scope and really getting into detail, answering a lot of questions, bringing the designer out. So I love that. Please show up. Like I said, we only have a couple spots left, but please go online and register to attend. We'd love to have you out.
All right.
Awesome. Scott, thanks
Thanks
for your
very much.
time.
Yeah.
We're going to be right back. We're going to have Stacey Parks talking about some tips to help you guys have your deals go smoother in our conveyance department.